Welcome to the final episode discussing how government works. Earlier this afternoon, I had the opportunity to sit down with Congressman Tim Burchett to discuss how Congress works and the role of the federal government in the United States. So good to see you, Congressman. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, tell us about your political career and how you got into politics to begin with and where you are now.
Well, Daddy was always involved in politics, and after the Second World War, he came here to Knoxville to go to school at UT, and then came dean of student conduct, got involved in school board, and then was chairman of the old city school board, which we don't have anymore. It's all combined now, consolidated. And it's just I just had a love for it. And I can remember meeting Congressman Duncan Sr. when I guess I was 4 or 5 years old, just working the polls, and I was 4 or 5 years old. My dad school board, and then it just kind of fell into my lap, I guess. I ran for state house, and I was fortunate enough to win that. We won that, and then I ran for the state senate. That was 12 years. And then I was 16 years total in Nashville and 8 years as county mayor. And then the opportunity availed itself to run for Congress, and we ran for that and won the primary and then the general. And here I am and starting my third term, I believe, in Congress. So.
Back when I was a kid, there was a great series called Schoolhouse Rock that explained civics in very simple terms. And the process for a bill becoming law is actually pretty simple. It is introduced into both houses of Congress, has to pass both houses of Congress, and then goes to something called reconciliation, which Congressman Burchett is going to explain.
Reconciliation is when you have two bills and like you're passing a speed limit. One says 55 and one says 65, and you agree on 60. It's in the legislature, it was a pretty smooth process. You had a conference committee. You have an education committee that deals with education bills. But the one thing I'd warn people about is I get calls and say, don't y'all have anything better to do? Well, that's that area of jurisdiction. The Judiciary Committee is dealing with things because there's something in there that would go under that committee of jurisdiction. But then you have things like a budget committee.
Here in Tennessee, the state is required to have a balanced budget every year. The federal government, not so much. In fact, we all know that they're running huge deficits. But balancing the budget is important to people like Congressman Burchett. Now let's go back to the interview. If you were talking to young people about the importance of voting, what would you say?
I would say, go in your history books and look at the graveyards. Look at things like where D-Day, where my uncle is buried. I'd go look at all those gravestones and the sacrifice people have made so you can just sit on your butt on election day. To me, that should be your driving force right there. Because people have, my daddy would talk about his buddies that never came home from the Pacific, and just the hellhole they were in on Peleliu and Okinawa, and just the horrible conditions. And to the day he died, he would have done it again. If Uncle Sam had called, he'd have been right back in the fight.
As I mentioned earlier, you're very unique because you know how government works at all levels. You've served at all levels. What's the best thing about being a congressman?
I soak it up. I realize that every night I go out and look at that dome over the Capitol, and I think, wow, Charlie and Joyce Burchett's baby boys, United States Congressman. Mama flew an airplane during the Second World War. Dad fought the Japanese all the way across the Pacific. I'm standing on some pretty cool shoulders, and that probably at night when I'm looking at that dome, I feel, I'm not real, I don't want to get mystic or anything, but I think about my parents a lot, and that I hope that they'd be proud.
Thank you to Congressman Burchett for his time, and thank you for watching this important video series. If you'd like to watch any of the other episodes of this series or any of our series, please visit the Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs YouTube channel.